north other states with these vehicles. So
did you guys want to come inside or?
Sure.
Yeah, come inside.
Yeah, sure. Good go.
How's it going, guys? Watching the Watchman here, out with the Amagansett Press, here in Douglas, Wyoming, at the Converse County Justice Center, Sheriff's Office and Jail here. And we've actually been in Douglas before and did a video at their health department. It's a pretty good one, so I'll put a link to that if you haven't seen it.
If you won't wear a mask, I will have to ask you to leave.
A public building? You just said this is a private building, this is a public building.
This is a public health building. This is a private office.
I just asked
What's
the
up
name
with
and
the
badge
cameras?
number so I know I'm talking to.
Or can I have some ID?
And of course I have ID with me, but is there any reason you would be asking me for ID?
So we got called here, the dispatch, because they hit the panic alarm.
There is no order about wearing a mask in a public building. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah, I just went in. You didn't see me with a mask on.
Okay, so
right?
your officer Dowd here is trying to tell me that there is.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
Reading about how we can charge people if we want to. It's put out by the government.
And as usual, gonna take a look around, take some video here on public property, and see if the folks here in Douglas respect our First Amendment right to take video in public. The entire county of Converse County has around 13 or 14,000 people, and they have this massive jail complex here that seems like it's relatively new construction. So interesting. I wonder what % of the county is in here.
What do you think, Watch? We go right around the back?
Yeah, I guess, right?
Yeah, might as well go right around the back before they sound the alarm. Looks like they're getting ready to do some work here. Or this is some kind of a, what is this, an art display?
That's a good question.
That's interesting. Beautiful mountains in the background. There are some, I don't know if you can see them here. What are those, antelope?
It looks like it.
Or they're pronghorns, maybe. Can't see, hard to tell from here. I don't know if you can see it in the video. I'll try to zoom in for you. But just beautiful country out here, guys. And I always like to remind you what a beautiful country we live in. And always suggest if you have the means, if you can do it, get out and travel. Get out and see our beautiful country. Get out and meet the beautiful people.
I would zoom in on them for you guys, but I'm running a different camera today and don't have my zoom capability at the moment.
Oh, look at this old Douglas police vehicle. Oh, retired senior volunteer patrol. That's pretty cool. This is good because you know, it's interesting to see this building. You'll see it when we go around the front. This building must have cost many millions of dollars to build. And so the folks, the public would be very interested in seeing where their money went. Hopefully the folks here at Douglas don't have any issues with that. We'll find out shortly. Stay tuned. And this is the staff entrance here. It's really amazing when you get out west out here. 27 degrees feels like 47.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. So here's the staff entrance. Obviously we can't go in this way. Somebody doing a little remote start and let us know we're here. Let us
Must be, yeah.
know that they know we're here. Oh, so this kind of ends here. That's interesting. I figured you'd be able to walk around. That's all right. We'll go back this way, see if we missed anything.
Yeah.
So while I have a minute, guys, I just want to thank you all very much for doing your part and standing up for what's right in this world, and also supporting what we do. And you know, I always say, I don't have any illusions here that I'm going to change the world, believe me. But if we can make a difference in one person's life and we go out and make these videos, or more people's lives, if we can give somebody a little information they might need, if we can learn something, if law enforcement that we speak to can learn something, that's all we're looking for, and that's what I call a good day. We also need to make sure our rights are being upheld by law enforcement, which is important, and you got to do these things on the ground, face to face, one officer at a time, and that's what we try to do. And with your support, Amagansett Press is just about to hit 40 million views, lifetime channel views, and we just hit 229,000 subscribers today. And I also want to congratulate Watching the Watchman here. His channel's got over 40,000 subscribers, over 4 million views, and he's doing great. We're having a wonderful time traveling the country together and spending the time together and defending this life and getting an education along the way, and some fine people and some not so fine people. So just want to thank you for that. We really appreciate it. Wonder if it's okay. Think there's anything wrong with it? Is it like turning on by itself? Maybe we should let somebody know inside that this truck seems to be turning on all by itself. Starting, turning on, whatever. How come it has no front license plate?
It's a good question.
Yeah, front plate from Wyoming. Is it an exempt plate? Nope. So somebody's personal vehicle with no front plate. Interesting. You know, I always thought my car would look better without a front plate, but I can't do that. So I don't know. Let's go inside and ask them. This car's just out here running.
Really love the blue line thing here.
Awesome.
Guy over there's whole Jeep was blue.
Wonder what's in here. This is weird how they have all those rocks like that.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody could tell us what that is too.
Yeah, even the rocks are in cages though, yeah.
Yeah, right, keeping the rocks in cages. No doubt. Yeah, let's go around this way.
Oh, they got workout equipment in there.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got gym equipment. Nice. Officers can stay in shape.
Authorized personnel only in the caged rock area.
No trespassing. Where's that? So where?
I don't know.
Like from that sign all the way to the mountains? Where's that in?
Oh, 2018.
Brand new build. Let's see if it's open.
Surprised.
It's a little warmer in here, so let's see. So are they closed today? Is that the situation? Yeah, I guess so.
Hi, can I help you?
Yes, hi. Would there be an officer that could come out and speak with us for a minute?
Absolutely. What can I tell them they're coming here for?
I just had a question about Wyoming law.
Okay, just sit tight and I'll get somebody headed this way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, closed weekends and holidays. I wonder if we're going to get a sheriff or a police officer. Police
Very
officer.
good question.
Yeah, police officer. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. You?
Officer Lehman?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry, Officer Evans? How are you?
Good.
So I just have two quick questions for you. One is,
Sure.
which I gotta ask you, what's up with the rocks being all caged out there? Is there a functional purpose to that, or is that?
You mean the landscaping?
Yeah, the way, you know how they have like those rows of like the broken up?
I think what they were trying to do is they planted some vines,
Oh,
but the
okay.
vines are taking forever to come in.
I got you.
And now it just kind of looks the way it does, but the vines are kind of coming up, but now
Gotcha.
you can't see them.
When I first walked by, I figured that maybe they were like gonna be used for landscaping somewhere and they were just storing them, but then it looked like it was more permanent.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the landscaping, but it's just
Gotcha.
not fully developed landscape.
Yeah, I don't think it's all grown in yet.
Yeah.
What was it like? Probably all the leftover chips and pieces from when they did the building, I would assume.
Could have
I
been,
don't
yeah.
Creative use for it, if that's
Sure,
what they did.
sure.
But my legal question for you is, in the state of Wyoming, if I have a vehicle registered here, am I allowed to just drive around with a rear plate, or do I have to have a front plate and a rear plate?
It depends. If your vehicle was not manufactured with the plate holder, then you have it in the back.
Or if it's like a hot rod, it's got a special, there's a special indicator for certain vehicles.
Okay,
Um,
now I have a pickup truck.
Then, yeah, if it's manufactured with a front plate, then you'd have to have the front and the back. If it's not, then
If it's manufactured, because that's, like mine, for example, like there's nothing like built into from the factory for the front plate.
sure.
But I guess the dealership or whoever puts that plastic thing on the front of it, and then you attach it to that, so how do you figure out if that?
It's just the way the statute's written specifically. So it says if it's not manufactured to have a like you said, I don't know what you call that,
Like a plate.
housing
Housing.
for the plate, then you don't have to have a front plate.
Really? And how do the guys
out?
out on the road know for that specific vehicle, make and model if it's?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, because you
And
probably write a lot of tickets where they shouldn't be written, and then probably don't write some where they should. I don't know how that.
It kind of depends on the officer. I mean, some people, that's what they choose to enforce, and some, they don't. It's kind of up to their discretion. But you're right, it does make it more
Yeah,
complicated.
it's a little confusing.
Absolutely, especially if it's already complicated just because states aren't all the same.
Right,
So some
right.
states, you'll see a front plate and you'll look and you're like, well, that's Michigan. I don't know if Michigan has a two-plate law or not.
Right, right.
So unless you know all 50 all the time, it can be kind of confusing sometimes.
got you.
So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people moving here from other, moving
Oh,
here
yeah.
from other states with these vehicles, so.
Did you guys want to come inside or?
Sure.
You
Yeah,
can
love
come
to
in if you
go
like.
inside. Yeah, sure. Good, go.
I'm gonna stand in the breezeway here.
No, it's great. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, and you know what made me wonder that we came by to check out the facility. We drove by last night, and this place is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have cost a fortune, but it's a beautiful facility.
It is,
You guys
it's
are
very
fortunate to be able to work here.
Yeah.
I wish where I work was this nice. But so we drove by at night, and it was just, the way it's all lit up and everything, it's really nicely done.
Yeah, it's quite an upgrade from what we had before, and it was sorely needed for sure.
Did you have an real old facility?
It wasn't that it was, it was older, but
Built in the 1970s,
Yeah,
but
people
honestly, it's a lot of technology that's
Oh, I
from
got
the
you.
1970s to now, so trying
And you
to.
gotta weave that stuff through the walls and.
with the sheriff's department here, and then the jail is here as well. So the
Gotcha.
jail is nice and updated,
Yeah.
and so it is a nice facility. Dispatch in the sheriff's department, the jail, and then the dispatch center is all here as well. So
Yeah, cool.
it is beautiful though.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, no, it's nice. All right, well, that was my question. And the reason I asked you that question is we were just walking around the back, and there's a pickup truck out there that somebody, I don't know if it started by itself or somebody remote started it or something when I was walking by. And that caused me to look at it, and I said, hey, they don't have a front plate. Because you know what it is? I'd love to take the front plate off of my truck.
Oh yeah.
But I'm always worried I'm going to get pulled over and get a ticket for it.
Yep. It would be easier, yeah, if we just did 2 or 1, but
Is there any possibility that you might be able to print me up that statute? Because I don't even know what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, we can if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Then I can look at the actual letter of the statute and just figure out what I can do and what I can't do. Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to go print it? I can try and find it.
You want to,
I might have it on my work cell actually.
well, you want it printed though, right? Or like.
I would love to just look at, because you know what, like, just like me, when anybody tells you anything, even if you know exactly what you're talking about, that's not the letter of the law, so I'd rather just read exactly what it is, you know what I mean?
Can we just print it off for you or photocopy it?
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know sorry, dispatch is talking. Yeah, it basically talks about antique cars, hot rods, stuff like that.
Okay.
Because they have different designations with their plates. You know, like a military plate or a veteran's plate, or
Gotcha.
a disabled veteran, or a Wyoming alumni. There's just so many different ones.
So like if you're out patrolling and you see let's say it's a newer model vehicle, like less than 5 years old, and that doesn't have a front plate on it, would you stop them?
I mean, it depends. Depends on the circumstance.
But is that a ticketable offense in your eye? Like you could?
In the state of Wyoming, I mean, you can take it for any misdemeanor, and it's a misdemeanor offense.
It's a misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
Wow, so it's a criminal offense not to have your front plate on?
If it doesn't fit within the confines of how that statute's written,
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And in Wyoming, and I'm not sure, are you guys from Wyoming?
No.
Okay. In Wyoming, so there's only two, there's misdemeanor and felony.
Okay.
We don't have classes of misdemeanors, or
Oh, okay.
classes of felonies.
Okay.
Obviously, there's varying punishments per crime,
Do you have
but
violations?
as far as, what do you
Like, because what happens if somebody commits a very low-level misdemeanor that's
like a
treated-
traffic offense?
Yeah, anything that, like a non-violent misdemeanor,
Uh-huh.
would that be treated the same as something that would, in another state, be considered like a higher-level misdemeanor? You know what I mean? Like, how do they make that?
Sure.
So in some places, they have violations or...
So how they translate? It could be. I mean, so here a misdemeanor is up to a $750 fine and/or up to a year in jail.
Right,
Anything over a year, over 750, is a felony.
right,
So,
okay.
anything underneath that, whether it's a traffic offense or battery is a misdemeanor. The consequences are different, the fines are different, and the
I got
potential
you.
jail
It's
time is
just,
different.
it's all just lumped into the category.
But there's a
of misdemeanor.
maximum, and after you meet that maximum, then it turns into a felony.
I got you, okay.
So, but I mean, it's written out to where it wouldn't turn into it, but so, let's say theft. Theft of under $1,000 in the state of Wyoming
Okay.
is a misdemeanor. If it's over $1,000, it becomes a felony.
So theft of under $1,000 and let's say trespassing would be the same, it would be a misdemeanor?
Yes,
Might
sir.
have obviously different consequences, but
Yes,
they would both be charged as misdemeanors.
Yes, sir.
I got you, with no classes.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then, and they just recently changed it, like now the theft of a firearm is an automatic felony.
Should be.
It used to not be. It used to be a misdemeanor.
Really?
Unless that dollar amount was over $1,000.
Wow, that's interesting.
So, yeah, they just recently changed it.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, that's good, yeah, and nobody should be stealing anybody's firearms.
Yeah.
Or anything else, but.
Sure. Yeah, but it only goes misdemeanor felony. So that's the way it is here.
Gotcha.
Do you have any other questions? Well,
Do I have any other questions? I don't think so. No, I think, no, I appreciate all your information, appreciate you being cordial and professional.
absolutely, you bet.
Thank you, and, appreciate, I'm assuming you're, how long have you been on the force?
8.5 years?
So you were about a different department somewhere else, or?
No, sir. I worked for the state, I guess, a couple years when I was finishing college. I was real young. I worked for the state parks.
Okay,
I did that they had seasonal workers. I did that for a few summers and winters, and then I came here, and I've been here since 2012, August 2012.
2012,
It's
cool.
about 8.5 years.
Yeah.
Been with this
You
department.
enjoying it?
I do.
Yeah.
I do
And
enjoy
you
it.
signed on before they got the new facility?
Yes,
So
sir.
you didn't even know like how nice it was gonna be?
No, I was back in the old stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's a great community to work in. We have an awesome community. They're very supportive of law enforcement. We're very fortunate for that because it could be much worse.
There you go.
so it's a display of license plates. Cool, excellent. And just one other question, I see your badge says 1.
Yes, sir.
But you have a 217 underneath?
Yes, sir.
So what's the difference there?
So it's just the badge designee is kind of how you come in. It's not so much a rank as it is kind of, I guess, experience.
So you're the most experienced officer in the department?
With this department, what's the word, sequential years? Yes.
Okay,
But there are other officers who have more experience. They just haven't been with our agency as long.
gotcha. Also,
So-
in rate, I gotcha,
Yes, sir. So one gentleman, 20 years in another agency, retired, but came here.
gotcha.
So,
So and what is your, so you're an officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. And you're an
Yep.
officer as well? Okay,
And then 217 is my call sign, so,
gotcha. So if somebody asks you your badge number, you can say 1.
yes, sir.
Okay, but you have a call sign, which is 217. It gets confusing.
Yes.
Especially when you travel the country to
But-
different states.
Sure, and the nice part is you could use either or. If you were to call in and say, I spoke with a guy, his badge number was 1, they know who it is.
Gotcha.
If they call in and, it was 217, they know who it is.
Gotcha.
If you call in and say, I talked to a bald guy with glasses, there's like 6 of us.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
So no one's gonna know
No
who we're
worries.
talking about.
Yeah,
So it just kind of helps. I mean, either number, they'll know who it is.
very cool. Well, the last thing I'll ask you, and then I'll let you get back to work, is there any other part of the facility that we can take a look at? Like, is there any other publicly accessible areas?
This is all publicly accessible. Anything that's not is locked up with a key code.
Oh, okay.
This goes all the way past to see where the detention center is, all the way to those doors.
Okay.
This is all public area.
Oh, cool, so we can just walk around the public
Yes,
area for
sir.
a minute and get some video?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, I just want to thank you guys, and I'm going to assume that you probably know what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So that's probably what dispatch was telling you in your ear a minute ago, I would assume?
Well, it was something else, but we always try and listen.
So I hope that, and I appreciate your professionalism and your cordial demeanor and all that, but I hope that is the same way you behave when you don't know what's going on. I mean, you guys know we've been to Douglas before.
Yes, sir.
And we had some interaction with, I believe it was Sergeant Schmidt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I hope we left things in a good way. We always try to end things on a positive note. People have, justifiably so, some ideas about people that do First Amendment audits. So I've been really trying hard to come up with a different name for what I do, because I don't like to be lumped into categories where, this is my son. My name's Jason. This is my son, Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Ben, nice to meet you.
And, which you probably knew that already. Anyway.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. We've seen the video.
Okay.
I think
Oh, so
everybody.
you recognize this?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay.
I didn't, because I had just pulled in.
Okay.
And then coming up and seeing you, I was like, oh, because I watched the video. I was off that day.
Oh, and you were thanking God you were off that day, right?
So, but I did see it. A lot of people did see it. So when I saw you, I absolutely did recognize you guys.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
No, I appreciate you telling me that. No, and you know what we're trying to do is we're not out, I think you can tell by the way we behave and the way we behaved in that video. We're not, I don't want to say we don't instigate, because sometimes you do have to, I don't want to say create a situation, but, a simple act of civil disobedience can affect great change. I like to go with that.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do is we're obviously trying to test the waters a little bit. We're trying to push the envelope a little bit. And we're trying to highlight the good guys, such as yourselves, because we're not against law enforcement.
Sure.
I'm not for defund the police or any of that stuff. I think we need law enforcement in this country. I think you guys might need a little, this is a very fast changing world, and things happen very quickly. So I think continuous education and training and policy updates and that kind of thing are needed. And maybe focus should be put on some of that stuff. But we like to go out, we like to highlight the good officers out there, and we like to show that there are, and put you guys in a good light, but you guys have to do that for yourselves. I can't make you look good or bad.
Yeah.
I just memorialize what you choose to do. But then we also enjoy finding the not so nice guys that are out there, because a rhetorical statement, I don't expect you to answer me in uniform, but there are some guys out there that wear a gun and a badge and just do terrible things.
Well, that's everywhere.
Everywhere. There's some photographers that do terrible
Yeah.
things. There's some knitting instructors that
Yeah.
probably stab people with a knitting needle. I mean, I'm just saying, in all fields,
you're correct.
there's horrible people.
Yeah.
But somebody needs to try to shine a light on that kind of stuff, because I really believe that the best thing that good police officers can do for yourselves is to police the bad police officers.
Sure.
Because bad police officers get good police officers hurt and killed every day in this country. And that's a travesty. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I don't think there's a law enforcement officer out there that would disagree with that. No officer, no good, I can't say good, I guess, no decent man or woman who works this job wants there to be bad cops or bad officers or bad experiences. I mean, that saying that one bad gives you a black eye, or gives the whole profession a black eye, it's true.
Right.
And
it can, especially with the way the media
Absolutely.
operates these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And the same thing with your, you said your training and education. I don't think there's the same thing. A decent man or woman doing this job that doesn't want more training and education. We thrive on it. We work for it all the time, and it only makes us better. So.
And I get that, and I believe that's the case. But I think what the problem is, and I understand the situation, talk about being between a rock and a hard place. A good officer is really in a difficult spot.
Sure.
Because I get it 100%. I mean, you join the force. I would imagine that 99 out of 100 police officers that join the force have a heart of gold. They just want to help their communities when they first start out. But then, you get in and people start telling you to do things you don't feel comfortable with, and maybe and you don't know if you should stand up to that or not. Maybe some guys do and some guys don't. And so that's where I think the problem comes in, because it's very difficult for a good police officer, especially if they're a lower ranking police officer, to call out one of the higher ups. How do you do that? But we rely on you to do that. So, so it's a very difficult situation, and I appreciate the position that you're in. But we ask you to, hold the guys accountable that aren't doing the right thing, because you're the first line of defense for us. Once the average citizen gets into a situation with a law enforcement officer who's not doing the right thing, that's a horrible situation for that citizen.
Yeah.
And if they don't deserve to be there, there's really nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? At the time, maybe you can fight it another day in court. Who knows what horrible things are going to happen to you in jail? Who knows what horrible things can happen to you in custody, other inmates, jailers, you know, so there's a lot that goes on. So it's an enormous responsibility and an enormous responsibility. I mean, that's the word. So we need the accountability to match the responsibility. And that's what we're out. I'm just trying to explain to you what we do and why we do it. So we're not out to stir anybody up. I don't call the police on myself. We don't do those kind of things, but we definitely try to push the envelope because we want to have these conversations with you.
Do you guys travel in just a specific area, or do you kind of go all
No,
over
we've been
the
in
place?
28 states in the past year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
A lot of distance
it is a
covered
lot.
there.
Yeah, but it really means something to me. Prior to doing this, I've had different careers. I was a hotel manager in New York, but I was a staff photographer for the New York Times years ago. I worked in modeling photography and all kinds of stuff with some very big names. And so on and off for 30 years, somehow I've been involved in photography and video. And I can't tell you how many times my rights have been abused, denied, canceled out on the spot because somebody didn't feel like they wanted me to be doing what I was doing, which I had a perfectly good right. So this is kind of dear to my heart. And when we were trying to figure out how we were going to try to stand up for what's right in this country and defend our Constitution, because that's the priority here, we chose video as our venue because of that. Sure. Because it's something I have experience with and what you know. But that's what it's all about to us. At the end of the day, it's 100% about the Constitution of the United States, which you swore an oath to.
Absolutely.
And it's a very, very difficult decision because, again, rhetorical statement, but if you see another officer doing something wrong, do you stop them? And if it's a supervisor or a higher up or a lieutenant or a chief, or what do you do about that? And I get the position you're in, but you know, this country was formed by brave men and women. And I think we need to bring some of that back. And the only way to do that is, you know, one person at a time. So that's why we're here with our feet on the ground talking to you guys.
Cool.
You know, instead of just putting stuff out there. You know, there's some guys that do YouTube stuff that sit home on a computer and just talk to the screen. And we want to be out here meeting and shaking hands. Well, you can't shake hands these days in some places.
Sure,
Bumping elbows, whatever it is. And, you know, we just want to foster good relations between the citizenry and law enforcement. And sometimes what we're doing even gets misunderstood.
Yeah.
And you know, we've been put in bad situations over it. But we rely, if you guys are the good guys and you really are who you're coming across as, which I believe you are, we're asking you to, you know, I don't know how much of a problem you have here in Douglas, but I know you go to law enforcement training outside of the area and you go to different meetings and that kind of thing and conventions and whatever. Just have the conversation with people, you know, and just, who knows, maybe all of us will forget about this conversation by tomorrow, but 6 months from now, something might happen, something I said might spark something that might help you one day. Maybe this conversation might remind me of someday. So we're just trying to have the conversation, walk the walk, talk the talk. And,
absolutely.
You know.
Do you find that most of your experiences are good or bad, or kind of a variation of both, or is it an even mixture of both? Or?
It's a variation of both.
Is that?
Yeah, because there are some police officers out there who, no matter how hard you try, they're not going to get upset. They're not going to violate your rights, and they're not going to go that route.
Sure.
And then there's other officers, no matter how hard you try to be a good guy, they're going to treat you like a criminal. So you get both sides of the fence, no matter what I do. You know, I mean, I can only try to be as courteous and respectful as I can possibly be, because my goal is to have this conversation.
Sure.
Some guys don't want to have this conversation. This is a very scary conversation to some law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing the wrong thing, and you've been doing the wrong thing for many, many years, how do you have this conversation?
That's true.
Right? Or how do you even listen to it? So, you know, we all have to go home at night. We all have to put our heads on the pillow, and we all have to live with what we do every day. And the most important thing, and the big reason, my son's here with me because he chooses to be here with me, and he likes doing this together with me. But my secondary thing with that is what kind of a world are we leaving our kids? You know? And maybe absolutely, I'm not going to change the world. Not going to happen. But if we can make a difference in one person's life, if we can put a smile on somebody's face, if we can save somebody from being abused or arrested, or give somebody some information they might need to be able to, maybe somebody in Douglas will see this and has been afraid. I'm just making things up.
Oh, sure.
But maybe they've been afraid for a while to approach law enforcement because they don't know what kind of reaction, because they need help. And maybe they'll see this video and say, hey, Officer Lehman and Officer Evans seem like, maybe I'll go see if I can speak to them.
Sure.
You never know. Drop a stone and watch the ripple go.
Absolutely.
I mean, you never know where it's going to go.
It's a very similar theory in law enforcement. That's what a lot of us try to do. It's that one interaction. You know, you go 20 years and you really, really genuinely help one person. really make a difference, and 20 years is worth it.
It is.
I would hope it would be more than one, but if it's only one, you know, that's the same.
Well, you're a man after my own heart. I always say the same thing. I say if I have to speak to 1,000 law enforcement officers to get that conversation or that result with one, it was worth speaking to all 1,000 of them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you do the same? Are you guys like do the same thing, or do
Yeah.
you do something different?
No, yeah, we do the same.
So it's under the same, because I know.
2 different channels.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So his is Watching the Watchmen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Amagansett Press is maybe, which I'm sure
Yes.
you know what it is.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was trying to remember, because I remembered in the first video I had thought you had said a separate channel, but
It is.
I
Yeah.
couldn't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And you know what? And I'm not bragging or complaining. I'm not one to, you know, I'm. This is where it is because things happen the way they're supposed to happen in this world, I believe. But I also believe that there must be a reason why I have the biggest channel that does auditing, because I think we're doing it right, and I think we're really after the right thing, and we're really trying to do it in a positive, constructive way. I'm not just trying to get views on YouTube.
Absolutely. No. Well, we appreciate you guys being so decent.
No, and I say it right back at
Respectful,
you.
nice. You know. It's,
Yeah, right back at you. And you know what? And I hope the biggest thing you take away from this is, a lot of times you guys get called, which can go both ways. A lot of times you guys get called to a call. Now, the person who made the call to 911 could have sensationalized a little bit.
Sure.
Right? Your dispatcher might be a little busy, and it might come across a little more urgent than it really. So you might be cherries and berries flying, like they say. You know, run into it, get out with this presumption that there's something horrific going on, and you're all in that mode, and you're ready to go when it's not.
Yeah.
So I always just suggest, you know, I'm not telling anybody how to do police work, but don't forget about the peripheral view. Don't forget to get the full picture and the totality of the situation before you march into something and assume somebody's doing something wrong just because somebody made a phone call and then somebody else translated that phone call to your radio. That might not be the case.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then good people wind up getting hurt, bad people wind up getting away. So it's all about just being very vigilant and alert and seeing what's going on, and you know, realizing that you know, you just can't assume because somebody's doing something. Preconceived notions. That's what I'm trying to do.
Sure.
You know, like with us. Well, First Amendment auditors are in the building right away. Oh God, these idiots.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No, absolutely.
Maybe not.
And that's definitely not what was said either. It's just people here want to talk to
no.
an officer.
I'm not saying what it is. I'm just saying in any situation, any call you get sent.
No. And I understand. I was just saying, like when it came out, I did recognize you, and I was like, oh yeah. But I mean, it wasn't. I guess there was no preconceived notion there.
No, and like I always, whenever the police show up, because it happens to us every day.
Sure.
I always anticipate that the officers that are showing up are going to be honor their oath, and they're going to uphold the law, and they're going to be professional and courteous, like it says like it used to say on the side of the cars. I don't know where that went, but I always expect that. And then if they want to prove me wrong, that's up to them.
Sure.
So I don't anticipate the worst. I don't want to be pessimistic and just assume everybody's out to cause problems. And
Well,
so we just ask the same from you. You know?
Yeah, I'm glad you're getting good experiences as well. It's unfortunate you're getting bad ones, but
You know, nothing's perfect in this world, and that's the way to go. But I really think that good police officers, I think a good police officer's worst enemy in this world is a bad police officer.
oh yeah.
Okay? And I think that good police officers would do themselves and the citizens of this country an enormous service by policing that kind of stuff. And I understand it's hard. And what do? It's almost like impossible. It's almost like you can't do anything about it. But maybe it's a conversation with the chief. Maybe it's a conversation with the lieutenant. Maybe it just starts there. Maybe it's a conversation with your union. I don't know if you guys even have a union here. I don't know.
No,
but,
sir.
No. But you know what I mean? So it's just, I believe if you're talking about it, you're doing something about it. And that's all we're trying to do.
Well, you know, and I guess I can't speak for everyone, but I would hope I could, because I can tell you, at least with my agency, there's not one guy here that wants a bad cop. You know,
Well,
one bad experience, and you're right, it is a smaller community and but man, I mean, law enforcement across the nation is going through a lot of different stuff, and there's a lot of really good guys that get dragged through the mud for absolutely no reason, and none of them want a bad officer on the streets.
Well,
They just don't.
And I'm not going to say what agency it was or mention any names.
Sure.
But a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, there was a situation where police stopped a bunch of juveniles, really did the wrong thing with them, cuffed them, treated them like adults, bloodied them up a little bit. And one of them turned out to be the chief's daughter.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
you know, who knows?
And
Who knows who you're dealing with and what's going on?
Right, and I, again, just piggybacking onto what I said before, I can't think of an officer out there that wouldn't want those guys, if they're really doing wrong and they're violating people's rights, or they're violating, you know, their own ethics, or the ethics in the community, the guidelines that are set by their department. I don't think there's an officer out there that wouldn't want those people off the street.
Well, just like in any aspect of life, I'm sure there are some officers out there that are just horrible people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's got to be. There's photographers out there that are just horrible people. So we got to watch out for those people, and you don't want them in your ranks.
No.
Because like I said, I really believe you can't think of a worse enemy for yourself than a bad police officer. I would imagine, right? I mean, that's, you know, what's a citizen going to do? You know, you deal with that.
Yeah.
But what do you do when you have somebody, especially high up in the ranks, that's not doing the right thing and demanding that of their charges? You get a major mess. And then you have, you know, those things turn into places that none of us want to go.
Yep.
So, but I appreciate you guys. I do. I really appreciate you inviting us in and that kind of thing. And like I said, I just hope that you'll honor your oath and stand up for what's right. And sometimes that's not easy, but you'll be doing your own kids a favor. You'll be doing my son a favor, and you'll be doing your officers a favor in the long run. It might not seem like it that day, but
Absolutely.
we all have to be held to a standard.
I agree.
And I thank you guys for being,
thanks
being
for being
who you
so
are and
fair.
how you are. Yeah.
Enjoy. I mean,
There's
walk around.
just
a
take a quick walk
bathroom down
around,
there
yeah.
if you guys gotta go, and,
Cool.
so.
If you have any other questions, give us a holler.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes,
Say
thank
hello
you.
to Sergeant Schmidt for me.
Will do.
Tell him have a conversation with him. Just let him know there was no hard feelings. I hope he didn't have any.
Okay.
But I think it was a very productive video at the end of the day. And I hope you guys watch more of our stuff.
Definitely, we'll do.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks. No, guys, just real quick, that's what it's all about. Again, you know, I'm just going to preface it by saying those two officers could be completely full of it. I don't think so. I don't think so in this case, but you never know. You know, who knows? Maybe they are good guys, and maybe some of this conversation will trickle down somewhere at some point somehow. So that's why we're here, and this is why we do what we do. Here's the detention area. And my grandfather gave me some excellent advice when I was a kid. Stay out of jails and hospitals. So I'm giving that advice to you, especially you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go out this way. These guys were cordial. No need to stick around. All right, guys, I'd have to say that went well.
All right, guys. You saw how that went here in
That's okay.
Douglas, Wyoming. I think we had a good conversation here with the officers of the Douglas Police Department, and let us know what you think in the comments, and if you appreciate what we're doing, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button, and check out my other social medias. And if you appreciate the way these officers behave, of course, feel free to call them up and let them know. Douglas, Wyoming Police Department. And this is what we like to see. No issues taking video here. And our rights were definitely not violated. And went well. So that's about it for this one, guys. Wrapping up here. And coming to you from the Justice Center here in Douglas, Wyoming, with Amagansett Press, Watching the Watchmen, out. See you in the next one, guys.